Welcome to the Damn Sports Podcast. Hope you guys are ready for a great episode today. Hope you guys had a great day as well. Today's been pretty good for me, mostly. Not doing a whole lot of much besides like homework and stuff like that. I will say, though, if you are interested in college football, there is the FSU Miami game going on right now as I'm recording this, and I am a huge FSU fan, and I'm definitely excited. But I do think it's going to be hard for Florida State to win this game, being that Miami is ranked 12 in the NCAA, while Florida State is obviously unranked. With that, Florida State also has a kind of sketchy O-line, and Miami's obviously for the past 2 to 3 years, actually for a long time, Miami's been kind of known for their defense, especially their front line. The front line and their secondary, but their front line is very, very, very much usually really, really good. And with obviously FSU having a shaky O-line, if you're playing a team that has a really good D-line, it's going to be kind of hard to even throw the ball or run it with them just obviously constantly penetrating and just getting in there and disrupting the plays. Disrupting the quarterback, just forcing the running back to make a move and get outside or just do anything, really. Miami's secondary is obviously really good as well with obviously the big step up with the turnover chain, kind of gives them confidence and boosts them to another level. As well as Miami this year, especially with their new quarterback, King, has been really, really good. So it's going to be a big issue for them, for Florida State to guard too. So we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully FSU wins, but more likely than not, Miami's probably going to win, and I'm not going to hear the end of it. So that's going to be fun. But into the main topic of sports this week. On Tuesday, we had the Lakers-Nuggets game with Denver winning 114-106 off of Murray's double-double, as well as Jokic. They both were big contributing factors to this game. We saw that that Denver really can beat the Lakers, obviously, and make the series very interesting. And maybe not. I don't know about win the series. They could definitely give it a really good shot. It could happen, but at the same time, more likely than not, they can't beat the Lakers with LeBron and AD. It's really hard, especially if you have their contributing pieces. Obviously contribute and do well with Danny Green, KCP, and Dwight. So it's just tough for them. But Denver has the ability to do it, especially off Jamal Murray doing what he's doing in the playoffs right now. It really gives them a good shot of winning. Give a good shot of fighting and possibly winning the series, but more likely than not, Lakers got this. Especially with the adjustment they made later on in the series with putting Dwight on Jokic. So, on to Wednesday, we have the Heat-Celtics game where we saw Tyler Hero really just go off and take the game for himself with 37 points and coming up clutch in the fourth quarter as well, and kind of ending the game for the Celtics and just making sure the Heat win this game. But yeah, that was a big thing for Miami in this game. They just came up when they needed to, got great stops in the fourth, as well as scored when everything like that as well. It's just clutch time Heat, really, is mostly what it is. And it's just hard for a really good team like Miami to be able to have all these guys off the bench and everything like that. They can score, obviously. Tyler Hero, 37 off the bench. That's just absolutely crazy. So you need them to, with them contributing and them doing well, it's really hard for Boston to really beat them, especially because they obviously play great defense as well. They're not just a offensive team. They are very much a two-way team under Spoelstra, which is what they've always been known for. Also, a big thing was Miami played a very short lineup this week with Bam literally almost playing every minute of the game, 41. But they only played 8 guys, and one of them was Solomon Hill, and only played 4 minutes. So really only 7 guys hit the floor that game. So maybe that's a recipe they need to do, and Bam's going to have to just make sure he's okay and rest properly so he can keep playing these 41-some minutes, because that's the biggest thing. For the only real hole for Boston is the center position. Because Daniel Theis, don't get me wrong, Daniel Theis is good, but he's not on the same level as Bam, obviously. That's kind of the biggest thing that Boston would need in like the free agency or anything like that to be get a center like Miles Turner or somebody like that can help switch the floor as well, play really good defense in the paint. That's kind of where they're lacking. So they really need to. That's where they kind of need to strike at. Go at Daniel Theis and just get him in foul trouble, get him hard, get him easy, and that's how you win the game. And that's Miami kind of exploited that. It also helps when Tyler Hero puts up 37. Everybody else is doing well too, but you know what I'm saying. Thursday night we have the Lakers Nuggets game, and this is where we saw the late adjustment of putting Dwight on Jokic and kind of pissing him off the whole time. It's kind of what Dwight's idea was during this whole game. It was like, all right, we'll just piss off Jokic and make sure he doesn't do anything. And he did that. He got him to only have 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, and had 5 fouls that game. So he put him in foul trouble, didn't let him score easily, and everything like that. So that's kind of what you need from Dwight. And if Dwight's going to keep doing this, he's going to be a big factor in this series with him slowing down Jokic, which is something LA absolutely needs to happen, because you can't have Jamal and Jokic going crazy, because then you're probably going to lose the game. So you have to at least slow one of them down and force one guy to really put the team on his back and just win that game. So that's what they did with putting Dwight on Jokic and slowed him down, forced Jamal Murray to really do everything for them. Don't get me wrong, Jamal Murray still did his own. He still was doing as good as he has been in the playoffs. But still, if you slow Jokic down, you slow that team down, because he also is the focal point of their offense and their team as well, just because they run everything through him. Even when he's not scoring, he's passing the ball, he's doing a lot of other things. So he's a big part of that team. So if you can slow him down, you kind of slow Denver down, because Jamal Murray's going to take his shots and he's going to get 32 points. But he's also going to take some bad shots and some not so great shots, which slows down Denver's offense and starts putting them in a hole that unless Jamal Murray hits these big shots and passes it off and does everything, and a couple other guys step up off the bench and on the team as well, it's kind of doomed to lose. So you need Jokic out there as well. Besides just Jamal can't do it all by himself. You wish he could, but he's just not going to. It's just not what he is. But he's doing pretty well at it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying no knock to Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is that guy. But at the same time, you need Jokic. It's the point of that dynamic duo. You need the other guy to really bring out the both of them and make that team what it is. So I think they'll be okay, and it'll make the series very interesting. LA's probably going to win it. They kind of have to soon, because obviously, as we know, the Nuggets are known to come back at 3-1 deficits and win series. So the Lakers kind of need to stop this one out before they let Denver come back and just win the game with a Jamal Murray Game 7, like 60-point game or something. So if the Lakers want to come out of here, they need to squash this series soon, or they could be in a lot of trouble. Going off of that, we're going to NFL now for the Thursday night game with the Dolphins-Jags game, which on paper and looking at it, you would think, oh, this is probably a Jaguars win. It's not going to be, it might not be super entertaining. It may or may not be, depending if Fitzmagic is Fitzmagic or if it's Fitzpatrick. But we actually saw that Miami kind of ran away with this early with 14 points, unanswered points in the first quarter, and kind of just slowing down the Jaguars completely, which is a big thing for them. They need to, if Miami's really going to do something and try to make something happen, maybe not make the playoffs, but like kind of show that they're there, and they only need like a couple pieces to kind of get back into their playoff form. They need to have defensive games like this where they shut teams down, because that is kind of the best part of their team, with the secondary, mostly with Byron Jones when he's healthy, obviously. and when he's back in, Xavier Howard and a couple other guys out there, it's kind of the big part of their team. So your secondary is the best part of that team. So if they're doing really, really well, you kind of have to have the offense step up. And if you don't, like they usually don't, you guys usually will lose. It is what it is, and it sucks. But at the same time, it's kind of how it is. It's Miami. A lot of the guys are kind of shaping, especially Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick can either be really, really good or he can just throw a bunch of picks. So he's kind of well, you know what I mean? He's kind of in that realm of unpredictability. But we saw that it was Fitzmagic this week with 2 touchdowns and 160 yards. He's throwing it, and as we saw, he only missed 2 passes this week. 2. So he was playing very, very well, just constantly. Even if it was nickel and diming, he was getting his way down the field, and he was doing what he wanted with that Jacksonville defense, especially against the rookie C.J. Henderson. He was kind of bullying that mismatch of him not knowing too much about NFL and just still kind of learning it. So he just kept going at him and at him and at him and at him and just slowly working his way down the field. It's kind of what the big thing was, which is why Devontae Parker had a good game this week with 69 yards. Nothing crazy, but he's also trying to fight off a hamstring injury. It's kind of messing with him right now, but he's not trying to miss playing time because, as we saw when he played 16 games last season, he had 1,200 yards receiving. So you want him to play 16 games to have 1,200 yards receiving because that's how you win games. So he's trying to fight through it, and he's trying to do what he's got to do to win. And that's all you can really ask of him. He's doing well. Jakeem Grant. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Gesicki, was a really good thing. Really good for them. This week, he only had 15 yards, and he had a touchdown, don't get me wrong. But sorry about that. Wow. Gesicki's been a great asset for them recently, especially with, I think it was last week, he had week 1, he had a really big game with like 160 yards receiving, which is really, really good for them and kind of shows that he was worth the pick and he can really be something great for them in the future if he keeps kind of doing what he's doing. So you hope he stays on track and doesn't slow down. Jaguars have the stuff they have to kind of kink out with Minshew's decision-making. As we saw, he threw into a lot of double and triple coverage this week for no reason. I don't think there's no need to. Be smart, either throw the ball away or run, because you've shown us that you have maybe not like Lamar Jackson wheels, but you can get out of the pocket and get a first down if you have to. So keep doing that rather than throw a pick, you know what I mean? And throw the double, triple coverage and just lose a down for no reason. He had 275 yards and a pick, so he wasn't, as I said, he wasn't doing great at all. Decision-making was the issue. The bright spot for them, though, James Robinson, their undrafted free agent rookie that they picked up this year to kind of replace Leonard Fournette, really, really panned out. He only had 46 yards rushing this week, but he had 83 yards receiving, which shows his big versatility, which is what you want out of a back like him and just in general, because then it gives you more as a team to work with rather than be a bunch of one-dimensional guys. You have this guy that can really do everything. So when you have 100 plus yards from scrimmage, it's really, really nice and gives something to look forward to in his future, in the Jags' future, really. Like the last 2 weeks, he's also had like 210 yards from scrimmage in general, so we've known for the past 2 weeks, obviously, that he really is that versatile back and could be, it's probably the back of the future for them to replace Fournette, which is really, really nice, and which is what you want. So take that as a Jags fan and be really happy. DJ Chark being gone was a big thing for them, with him being on injury, because that's Minshew's like main guy to go to when he really needs something. Like right now, he kind of needs that guy and needs somebody to make a play. It's DJ Chark, but with him being out, he couldn't really think of anybody to throw to besides obviously Robinson, and he's a running back. Don't get me wrong, he can make plays, but he only do so much down the field, which is what you want from a receiver. And when your receiver's not there to do it, it's really hard, obviously, to make big plays. So that was kind of a big issue for them. So besides that, they had Jacksonville's defense was not bad. Miles Jack's always was a good pickup for them this season. So they have some things to work out, but their future looks bright, which is what you want from them, from a team like that. Friday, back to the NBA, just to let you know. Friday, we had Celtics Heat come back, and the Celtics said, we are in this series. I don't care what anybody says. Don't count us out so early, even though we're down 3-1. We can win this series. We have the talent. We have what we need to do it. And they do. They absolutely do. Coming back from a 12-point deficit, 121 to 108. And the big storyline for that was the big scoring output in the third quarter, beating out the Heat 41 to 25. Something like that kind of puts you in chances to lose the game if you get outscored 41 to 25 in a whole quarter. You can't let your team score 41 points in a quarter. That's absurd. And so you got to get back there and you got to do that thing. And you can't let that team do it. You're known for your defense, and something like that just kind of throws everything off if you let them just run house on you. Especially Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum was shooting so inefficient. He wasn't doing well in the first half. Then all of a sudden he came in, scored 31. Don't get me wrong, he scored a lot from the free throw line, 12 for 14, but he also had a couple big threes, 8 from 22 from the field. But don't get me wrong, that's really, really inefficient. But he made the plays when he needed to, and they won the game. So it's all really that matters for them. Now it's 3-2. Miami still can just win the next game and on Sunday and just call it a day. But at the same time, Boston's still in this series for absolute sure. So you can't count them out of this series for sure with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba, and Gordon Hayward's back now too. Any of these guys can go off and just win them a game, as we saw. So it's gonna be a very interesting series, and probably a series that everybody kind of was watching regardless anyway. So not too big of a surprise, but Miami still has a good shot of going to the finals. They just win on Sunday and call it a day. Especially they need a big performance out of Bam again. He only had 13, 8, and 8. Don't run a good stat line, but you need more from him. You need more from their team, because the only real guys that really was a big thing for them was Dragic and Robinson. Hero had a nice game. It wasn't crazy, but he had a nice game coming off the 37-point game with 14. 6 for 12, 2 for 5. 2 for 5 from 3 is a big issue. But you need something. You need more from him. It would have been nice to have another 20-something point game from him. Jimmy Butler needs to contribute more. He needs to be more aggressive. Don't get me wrong. I know you want to play that team basketball. Get it out. But sometimes, Jimmy, we need you to be that guy and just score the ball and win the game for us. That's what kind of Miami's at right now. Dragic's kind of been their big guy for them, with leading the team 21.8 points in the series. But you need Jimmy to step up. Don't get me wrong, he's playing defense and he's doing other things, but you need him to step up, score a little bit more, and be there in the clutch to win these games for them. So, definitely an issue. But Miami still got a real shot to win this series and really end it, which is kind of what they need to do right now. Nip the series in the bud and call it a day before Boston comes in these last two games and just Jason Tatum goes off, or Kemba Walker goes off, or Marcus Smart goes off. Generally, literally anybody on their team, almost, besides a couple guys, could go off for good 20, 30-point games and win a game for them and end the series and put Boston in the finals. After Miami was up 3-1 against them. Which is what you not need. You don't need to blow a 3-1 lead. That Miami team is too good to blow a 3-1 lead. With the great coach you have in Eric Spoelstra and the great team basketball atmosphere you have, it really is sad if they were to blow a 3-1 lead. Their team is too good to really blow something like that. You just don't want to understand it with their depth and just a lot of other things. If they were to blow a 3-1 lead, it'd just be one of those things like, really? Like when OKC blew the 3-1 lead against the Warriors, or the Warriors against the Cavs too. And just kind of one of those things you kind of look, you're like, how? How do you blow a 3-1 lead when you have all these guys plus a great coach and all those other things? It just doesn't add up. So you hope they don't blow it just for the sake of the reputation and the sake of the team, because it'll really diminish some confidence and all this other stuff if they do end up blowing a 3-1 lead. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of people didn't think Miami was going to make the finals this year. Some people didn't even think they're going to be really that high in the playoffs, which I thought was an overstatement. Don't get me wrong, Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn were kind of a big reason why they got as far as they did. But you kind of knew Jimmy Butler's attitude and a lot of other stuff, that he was going to come to this team with Eric Spoelstra and all these other guys and give them a good shot into the playoffs and get them to the second round and make some noise and really do some things. A lot of them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals for sure was playing against the team they were meant to beat in Milwaukee. That's why they picked up Jay Crowder and a couple of these guys from the Memphis trade to get rid of Justice Winslow. You also get rid of a guy that hasn't really been producing much, has been injured a lot of the time, to get quality guys that come off your bench. And even for Jay Crowder's example, start and do well for them to beat Giannis to get to the Eastern Conference Finals where they are. So they played it very, very smart, and you got to credit Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra for that. So that's a big reason why they're in the conference finals, because of something like that. But at the same time, a lot of people didn't see this happening. A lot of people saw Milwaukee just kind of putting them out through the 5-game series, you know what I mean? Because it's Giannis, you're the MVP, the defensive player of the year, all this other stuff. But Miami was smart, played their cards right, and got to where they are, because they are that team. They are something serious with their coaching and their team in general. They deserve to be where they are right now, 100%. But Miami needs to kind of finish this one, because they could risk losing to obviously another great team with the Boston, with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Brad Stevens as their coach. So it's two really good, deep teams with good coaching playing each other right now. So anything could really happen, even if it's down 3-1, because Brad Stevens can make one change that could change the series, but then Eric Spoelstra could counter it with something else, which, like putting in Solomon Hill and some of the other guys. So it kind of makes it very, very, very interesting. That's why it's like a lot of people are watching this series, and it's very cool to watch as a not as a casual, but as like a really big fan too. It's something that you really like to see, and it's like a chess match. It's really cool. It's something that's why you like basketball. For me personally, stuff like this. So I'm very happy. I think that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed my takes, and I want to hear from you guys too, from on YouTube, even on Anchor, all this other stuff. You guys text me, whatever. I want to hear you guys' feedback. I want to know how I can improve and be better, and I want to know what you guys think too, so I can talk about it on the show and stuff like that. Well, with that, hope you guys have a great night and enjoy. I hope you guys keep listening and come along for the ride, and I thank you guys for everything. And before I leave, go Noles, Miami sucks. Peace.